Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm just going to bring you all up on my iPad so that I can see who is watching. And if you are joining me today, thank you very much. I know I changed the time from yesterday, so let me see. Are you all seeing this sideways? I'm not sure if you're seeing this sideways, just go ahead and comment. Because on my end, it shows as if I'm seeing it sideways. And on my phone, it's showing me a little bit differently. So just give me a heads up if you're seeing it sideways, if you're seeing it normally, just let me know. And just give me a few minutes. I'm not sure what is going on with my Facebook on my iPad. And it shows that my video is sideways. And I'm not sure. Let's see. It's almost as if I'm stuck on the page. Give me 1 minute, guys. And then I'll begin. Because I am not sure what is... Maybe if I just get out of Facebook and then go back in, it might be different. Let's see. Hopefully. My page for some reason just doesn't load. But either way, we are going to make 2 cards today. And both of these cards, I actually cased them directly from the catalog. And I am going to be using the Forever Greenery Suite again today, just because I had a different plan, but in my travels, I forgot my Big Shot machine. So what I had in mind was to use the dies, but since I left my machine, there's just no way for me to go ahead and die cut. So what I am going to be able to demonstrate, however, is because one of the stamp sets that I use that does use the dies, I'm able to fussy cut it. So I will actually get to show you what it is to fussy cut a stamped image. And then I'm also going to be demonstrating how to go ahead and emboss using the embossing powder and heat tool. Okay, now if you're live with me, my iPad is acting kind of funny, so I cannot see if you're watching and I cannot see your comments either. But after I'm done with the video, I will be sure to scroll back and say hi. So if you are watching, just say hi, send me a message, just let me know that you're here. Okay? So we're going to start with this card over here first, and then we'll leave the embossing for last so that you could see that. So what I used was, for my card base, I used Pear Pizzazz, and this card is cut at, it's scored at 4 1/4, and I cut it at 5 1/2, so that my card opens bottom to top. Okay, and then this is going to be the cardstock for the inside. So we're going to start with that first. We're going to adhere our inside Whisper White cardstock so that we can go ahead and get that out of the way. Now we just press firmly down. Okay, and I am going to be using the laser cut papers from the Forever Greenery. So I'm going to be using this one, and it just like a whole bunch of holes. It's almost like a weave. So I'm going to turn it to the other side, and I am going to use my Tombow liquid glue. And I'm just going to go around the edges of this. I'm not going to put any glue on the smaller parts because it will go through. So I'm just going to glue the edges. I'm wondering if this iPad will ever work for me. Just on the edges, and I always get glue on my fingers, but that's okay. So putting glue just on the edges, and it will stick. So, and then I just put this directly in the middle of our card. And then any glue on the edges, it does dry off clear, just in case you're wondering. All right, now we have that part of our card done. Now this Whisper White cardstock is cut at 3.5 by 3.5, and we are going to stamp our images directly on here, and then we're just going to overlay it right on the top. So we're going to put this aside, and the colors that I used were Pretty Peacock, Soft Seafoam, and Pear Pizzazz. And what I did was I used the stamp sets from the Forever Fern, and the ones that I used are this big leafy one right here. I used this one, and I used these balled up, they almost look like little cotton leaves, which is what I like. Okay. And my iPad is still not working. I don't know what's going on, but anyways, so we're gonna start off with our first one in Pretty Peacock, and I'm going to mount that one onto this clear block right here. And I'm just going to go ahead, ink him up, and just stamp off a little bit to the side, because I am going to put the other image right next to it. And then let me clean off my stamp. And I use my chamois to clean off my stamp, and this is just like a sponge chamois, just with water, and it goes ahead and it cleans your stamps off very well, so you don't have to worry about if it's gonna come off or if it's not. Now my next image is going to be stamped in Pear Pizzazz. Okay. Just right on there. There we go. I'm going to clean that one off too. And then I can just take them off here because we're not going to use those stamps again. And this one I can mount onto my smaller clear block. Now this stamp, we are going to use the Soft Seafoam, but we're going to stamp it off one time, and then we're going to stamp it on the card, and it's just going to be kind of like a background. Stamp off once and stamp it on. Stamp off once, and there we go. So it just gives it a little bit of a hue on the back. Now for our sentiment, we are going to use the sentiments that do come with the Forever Fern, which is the hello. It also has you can do this, love and laughter forever after, and to a friend that makes me smile. But we're going to use the hello, and then these we can put back in our stamp case because we won't be using them again. So we're going to place it right here, and we're just going to set this off to the side for a minute. And then I just have a small piece of Whisper White, and we're going to go ahead and stamp our sentiment in the Pretty Peacock. There we go, perfect. And then we are going to cut that down. It's not going to be that big. So it's just in my stamp set, and we're going to put our sentiment away. So I am going to use my paper trimmer. We're going to set this aside right here, and because it's not at a straight edge, I'm just lining up my letters down here, and I'm going to cut. So I'm using the letters as kind of like my measurement tool. And then we're just going to take off a little bit of the side. Get down. There we go. And all right. So we cut it down just a little bit. Now what I did was I also used some of the ribbon that comes with a Forever Greenery Suite, and this is the Open Weave, which is in Very Vanilla. So my sentiment is gonna overlap this, so there was really no measurement. I just went ahead and cut it. I put my sentiment up on the top, and I basically just snipped it off where it would go a little bit out. So now we're gonna put some Seo glue on here, and I ran out of tape. And this is gonna go a little bit sideways. So we're gonna put it a little bit down here on the bottom. There we go. And then we're gonna use our liquid glue on here, because since it's a weave, the glue from here will go down to the ribbon and help it also stick. So just place it right there. Actually, that's what I like about the liquid glue. You can kind of play with it and move your things up a little bit. So now what we're going to do is we are going to get some dimensionals, and we are going to put it on the back of our Whisper White cardstock. And I do use last piece that I can of my dimensionals. So even if that means ripping it and cutting it into smaller segments, I make sure that I use every little piece. And then I should just cut it to give myself a little break from here. And I put it everywhere where I want to secure the edges, and we need to put some in the middle as well, just so that it doesn't cave in when you press it down, or even in your envelope when you mail your cards. Sometimes the mail is not gentle, and then we just take off the backing. So what are your all's plans for 4th of July? I was in Miami up until yesterday. I am currently in Crestview, and I will be here for 2 weeks with the family and my boyfriend. So I kind of think I escaped the whole Miami craziness of the curfew, which is good. So we just go ahead and line up everything. Just give it a few presses down. So here is our first card. Okay, and it's just a cute little card that you can send to someone and say hello. And I want to go ahead and put one of these little leaf things in the inside. And I'm gonna go ahead and use soft seafoam, and I'm not gonna stamp it off to the side. I'm gonna go with the full color, just to give it a little bit of a pop somewhere in here, right here. Okay, so you can go ahead and write your card out, and that's our first card for tonight. Now we're going to go ahead and clean the stamp. And we're going to start our other card. And I am going to get the sentiment ready for that one, and we're going to be using this leaf and the one that says love and laughter forever after. Alright, so I am going to mount him on my block already, and I'm going to mount my sentiment as well onto my block. So I'm going to put these cards off to the side. And this is going to be our second card. Now again, I did use the laser cut gold papers to make this card. And they only come with a certain amount, so I picked some different leaves for the one that we're gonna do together. This one I used these. And one of the things that I did was I cut along here with my scissor because I just wanted to use this, but then I want to use these leaves over here in gold, and they're just bunched together. So I went ahead and I'm just going to cut and here we go. what I ended up doing was I wanted to keep this part white, but like I said, I wanted to use these bunched leaves in gold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my white piece over to the gold part, and I'm going to put some glue over here on this back part, and I'm just going to go ahead and adhere this side onto that, and it will be protected again with the dimensionals. So we are going to make sure, whoops, let's put a little bit more glue on there. It is going to adhere with the dimensionals, so we don't need to worry about that. And we do want it off a little bit to the side. And then this one is going to go on this side. And then what we're going to do is, as this dries, we're going to go ahead and stamp our sentiment. And I'm going to show you how to do the embossing. So this color right here is the Shaded Spruce. And in order to emboss, you're going to need the Versamark stamp ink. And we're going to go ahead and wet our stamp. And we just go ahead, line it up, and stamp down. Now, if I wanted to, I could leave it like that and just let it look like a watermark, which you can do as well. But I wanted to go ahead and show you the embossing. Okay. Now, the embossing that I'm using is one that I had from before. I haven't ordered the Stampin' Up! One yet, but I will. So we put it on our tray because it is powder, and we just sprinkle it on wherever there was like the Versamark ink. And I use this tray just because it has a little hole down here. So when I finish, I go ahead and I put it back inside the bottle, what was left. So we go ahead and just take out all the little nicks, and let me see if I can, yeah, because once you go ahead and emboss, I'm going to show you how it gets clear. So I do have a heat tool, and this heat tool it's a little bit loud, so I'm not going to talk while I heat it up, but you'll be able to see how it starts to change. Turn it over. And it goes ahead and it dries up. And it dries up really, really quickly, and it just gives it that raised look. So with this, we are going to snip the ends off. Just in a triangle. Okay, just like that. So that's going to be our sentiment. Now we can put together our first layer. Now what I did was, this card is the Whisper White, and it's also scored at 4 1/4, and then it's cut at 5 1/2, so that it does have a bottom to top fold. So I did cut my designer series paper, and remember that our designer series paper is 2-sided, and I cut it the same size as the card base because I do not want any of the white on there. So I'm just going to put some snail in here. And I'm putting a little bit more just because since it is the card base, you want it to stick really well. And I'll just press down. Okay. Now, this little guy is gonna come here, and I had measured it that it would be about 2 of the little leafy things together. So we're just gonna go ahead and use liquid glue to adhere this part down. The back, and then right here. Actually, it needs to come a little bit down. All right. Now on this stripe of the Whisper White, we are going to stamp this little leafy guy, and I'm going to use the soft seafoam to stamp this guy. And this is how I'm going to show you how to fussy cut. Okay. And then I stamped one like this. Okay. Now, to fussy cut, what I'm going to do is, just so that it doesn't get in the way, when you start cutting, you're going to manipulate the paper, not so much the scissor, but you start off, and I'm going to leave a small white border around the leaves, because originally if I had my die cut machine, I would be running this through it. And it would give it some type of an edge, a white edge around the leaf. Now it's not going to come out perfect as if I had my dies, and I was really, really upset. But I forgot the machine, but it's okay. I'm going to cut out my other leafy guy. And just around the stem. And I am so sorry I can't see who's watching and who's commenting, but I promise once we are done, I will look back. So if you are watching, please comment hi. Alright, so this is what fussy cutting is. So if you didn't have the Big Shot machine, you could still cut out the stamped images and give it that white border on it. Okay, we're going to attach these to our sentiment. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on here, and I'm going to attach it directly onto my sentiment. And then this guy is going to go like this too. So I'm going to put some glue here and attach it just like that. Okay, now we're going to leave him there, and then we're going to take back our gold piece, and we are going to put some dimensionals on that. And I do want these a little bit smaller. So instead of tearing it, I just cut it, and see how I put some on the actual stem of that bunch, and it's just to double reinforce the adhesive. And it's just, like I said, a little bit on the border of there. And then I'm just going to snip a piece and put it in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to, here's my card base. Okay, so we just take the backing off. Whoops. And you're just thinking I have liquid glue on my skin. So it's just sticking everywhere. Alright. So I want this guy to come just a little bit towards the top. I'm gonna go like that, and then we can just go ahead and snip that guy off there. Now, I'm going to put some dimensionals on my sentiment as well. And I am gonna double up on some because it's gonna go a little bit off. I need to, since I put dimensions on here, I need to double it up so that it's not pushed down. So again, I secure my edges. And I'm going to show you what I mean by doubling it up. Okay, let me just get this long piece, put it there, and this long piece, and put it there. So what I mean by doubling up is once I take off the backing of this one, I'm gonna add another piece to it as well, just to give it that double dimension so that our card doesn't get flattened down, because this is dimensionalized as well. So I just get same size and I stack it one on top of the other. Okay. Stack it here, and then I just go ahead and peel it off. And then we can go ahead and put our sentiment right there. See, and it stays lifted up. It doesn't go ahead and like warp down just a bit. Now, these guys, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put some glue on the leaves and we're just gonna tuck them behind that hexagon. I'm trying to find, because I have my dimensionals on there. Here we go. So here's one. Leafy guy. And the last one. We're gonna tuck him in here. And I'm just looking to see where I have my dimensionals so that I can go ahead and place them. So there we go. That's my glue. And then, like I said, we're just gonna snip this guy off. There we go. All right. So these are the two cards, and like I said, they were both cased from the annual catalog. These were some of the examples that they put on using the suite. And those examples are there so that you have ideas, and we can go ahead and copy as long as we give credit. So today we used again the Forever Greenery suite. We did use the laser cut gold paper. I used the very vanilla the Forever Greenery open weave trim, and we did a little bit of fussy cutting, and we also did some heat embossing as well. So I hope you enjoyed today, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!